Good evening. Welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Excited to bring you the Shut Up and Race Street Stock Series. Tonight, coming at you from Southern National for the Pink Drive 100, presented by JP. These guys are getting excited, getting ready to go here on this little track. Southern National is going to be one of the smaller tracks we've hit for the series. Right now, though, our drivers are sitting in a little bit of a driver's meeting. We'll hopefully get to see them back out on track here in just a minute. Let's take a look at what we got going with the track here tonight. All right, so like we said, this is the smallest track that the Shut Up and Race Street Stock Series has come to. So we're looking at about a 0.35 mile track. Obviously, 4 turns. It's an oval, just a standard little oval track. Decent banking, so these guys are going to be able to run a good amount of speed around here for how small the track is. You know, last time we came to a track about this size would have been back at Concord. Great racing there throughout the field. Something I think we'll see come into play here that we also saw at Concord is going to be that lap traffic. The leaders here tonight, they are very likely to catch the tail end of this field and then be working their way through the traffic. Something that you just kind of have to deal with anytime you hit some of these smaller tracks. You see now a couple guys pulling out onto the track after that driver's meeting. It's the 97 Jacob Notstead. One of our drivers here who has pretty much dominated this season, taking home 9 wins. That's basically every race he's made it to. He's gone ahead and brought home that checkered flag. So Jacob, keep an eye on him through the night. Expect to see him towards the front. About the only downside he's got is that by winning each race, he ends up with an EOL for the next race. So more than likely he'll be taking that EOL here tonight and starting from the back of the field regardless of where he qualifies. Qualifying is usually pretty strong for him as well, so expect to see him qualify well and then work his way up through the field. Looks like we got just a little time left. Let's go to the national anthem while these guys get some qualifying started.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rackets regular, the bombs bursting in
All right, let's take a run through our top 10 in the point standing as we come to the close of the season. We got a couple more races left, but the way it's looking, it's gonna be some tight races. Sitting in first is Jacob Notstead, Jeff Steinbergen in second, Justin Penwell sitting in third, with Bud Reidner in fourth, Philip Martin sitting fifth in points, Damon Ekoff sitting in sixth, Brad Becker sitting seventh, Cody Hubbard sitting in eighth, Jonathan Cross in ninth, and Patrick Smith in 10th. Again, that's your top 10 in points for the season. All right, looks like qualifying's finished up, so we're just waiting for these guys to grid up so we can get to racing here tonight. All right, taking a look there at the 62 Jeff Steinbergen. Give these guys just a second more to get back or get in the cars, get them out there on the track and get things rolling. All right, it's looking like we got most of the guys out here on track. Looking at about a 15 car field, I believe, here tonight. All right, so we can see that 97 Jacob Notstead sitting on that pole right now. Like we said, with a win last week, he will be taking an EOL, dropping to the back of the field. So we'll stick here with Jeff Steinbergen for the start here tonight. While we wait for everybody to finish gridding up, we'll go ahead and run through the grid real quick. Let's see if it'll get us back to the beginning here. It's not looking like it's going to play nice with us right now. Looking like that 807 machine, Kyle Bingham, going to be starting outside on the first row. To his inside should be the 62 of Jeff Steinbergen. Philip Martin behind them in the 46 machine. Jacob Heathcote back there with him. Should be a couple of quick laps before we get rolling here. Just to his inside in that tote lawn care machine is going to be Josh Phillips. Joshua Taylor. Sorry, I'm getting names all mixed up here tonight. Josh Taylor starting in that third position with the 46 of Philip Martin to his outside. Just behind them is going to be that 44 machine of Derek Whitford. Pace car dives in and we are to green. This track being as small as it is, these guys are going to get rolling pretty quick here. That 62 machine looks like it's having a couple connection issues, giving those guys behind him a little bit of trouble. 807, Kyle Bingham has to move up the track, giving Josh Taylor a little bit of an opportunity to jump up into that second position. Looking back here at the 29 machine of J.D. Callahan, just to his outside, Philip Martin running him close. Philip and J.D., one of the only battles here on track, because everybody's already gotten themselves single filed out. These guys are just looking to click off some laps and get time rolling here. Philip's going to have to be careful. That inside line is definitely going to be our preferred line here tonight. If he's not able to get down to that inside, he's going to have some troubles. I've already seen him slide back a little bit. There we go. He's able to slot down in front of the 32, Jacob Heathcote. Looking back here, 97, Jacob Notstead Not wasting any time, already coming up through that field, coming past the 79 of Patrick Smith right now. Patrick Smith gonna let him go by and just start finding his rhythm. This track, as small as it is gonna be all about finding your rhythm, figuring out when you can be on the throttle, when to be off it. So we see the 28 machine get loose. Mike Todd getting loose there, able to gather that machine back up. Definitely going to lose some spots. Going to find himself in a battle for the tail end of the field with Brad Taz Becker. To the front of the field, looking at Jeff Steinbergen in that 62 machine. Starting to pull out a gap, having little connection issues there. 46, Philip Martin working to the inside. Looks like that 62 machine might have got into a little bit of trouble as we watch the 807 Kyle Bingham come around him pretty easy. It's pretty obvious that 62 machine Jeff Steinbergen has had a little bit of trouble. That front end of that machine a little bit crinkled up. This track, with it being so small, not going to be super aero dependent. Just going to be a matter of if he's done any damage to the front wheel there, whether he's able to hang onto that car through the night. Just like every other week, these guys have one set of tires and one set of tires only. So as they scrub them off, getting a little sideways or anything like that, they're going to be fighting with these machines all night long. '29 J.D. Callahan up into second place. Just behind him, Philip Martin sitting in third, and just behind them, Jacob Heathcote sitting there in fourth, with Joshua Taylor having dropped back a few positions, started up towards the front, now sitting in fifth. And that's not too far back, but definitely not the direction that driver's going to want to be headed. For as tight and short as this track is, these drivers showing a lot of respect, giving each other the room they need to make things work and keep things green out here on the track. 97 machine, Jacob Notstead still trying to work his way up. Seems to be having a little bit of contact there with Joshua Taylor. Joshua a little bit sideways, gathers it back up. Jacob stuck to his outside, and that's not going to be the preferred line. See if he's able to make that position work. This time, Jacob Notstead able to clear Joshua Taylor. Keep moving forward through the field here. Well, Jacob Notstead is working on the back of that 32 machine. We're watching that 32 take a look to the inside of the 46 of Philip Martin each time by. Maybe trying to set something up, but thinking better of it with Jacob sitting right there behind him. Jacob be able to get to the inside this time. Should make passing a little bit easier. We watched him make that outside line work last time, but this inside line is definitely going to be favorable for him. Jacob Heathcote now going to have an opportunity to follow Jacob Notstead by the inside of the 46 of Philip Martin. Philip was pushed up just a little bit of contact maybe with the outside wall that time by. And there we see Jacob Heathcote able to make that pass. Following right there in the footsteps of Jacob Notstead there in front of him. Great racing from these guys out here on the track tonight. Like we said, a track this small, there's got to be a lot of give and take from these guys. Got to be looking out for the guy that's in front of you, keeping track of what he's doing. At the same time, keeping track of what you're doing so you're not getting into the back of him, getting him up into the wall and collecting a whole bunch of other guys. Jacob Notstead, we're almost to a quarter of the way through the race, and he has made his way from 15th all the way up to that second position, and he has his sights set on the 807 of Kyle Bingham there in front of him. Looking at just over a second gap between second place and first. Kyle Bingham in that 807 going to be looking to keep that gap extended as long as possible. .32 machine getting a little loose, gonna give Philip Martin an opportunity to look to his outside, see if he's able to make that. As Philip Martin gets a little bit loose himself there. That brings a 25 machine of Bobby Hamilton Jr. right into the picture. Got a three-way battle between these cars. Each of them, you can see them pushing pretty hard, making use of those tires early here in the race. Philip Martin getting hung to that high side. The 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. is going to come by this time, able to clear him coming out of the corner. Three are going to line back up. Give it another run here. Back towards the front, looking at that gap between the 97 of Jacob Nottestead and 807 of Kyle Bingham. We can see that it's shrinking up, and in front of Kyle, a couple lapped cars. So that's something he's going to have to be thinking about here, something he's going to have to worry about, how he's going to make it through those cars, at the same time keeping Jacob behind him. See the 807 getting real sideways that time. Going to give Jacob that opportunity he's been looking for, come to the inside and make that pass this time by pretty easily. Kyle not fighting with it, says, you know what, I made my own little mistake. Let's gather it back up and let's keep racing. Looking back here at the battle for 9th and 10th, Vern Woodard in the 173, just behind him, Patrick Smith. See that 44 machine running a slightly different line. Everybody's got a little bit different method for getting through these corners. Some guys running real low all the way through the corner. A couple guys running a little bit higher, maybe trying to save some tires. We're not even halfway through the race here tonight, and they are already all over each other. We've seen some great racing throughout the field. Let's hop on board with that 79 machine of Patrick Smith, see what he's seeing right now with that car in front of him. See him there as he comes by the 44 machine of Derek Whitford. Able to come on by, gets into the wall just a little bit, but not going to do too much to slow him down this time around. Back up front, the 807 machine, Kyle Bingham chasing Jacob Nottestead. The gap between those cars, just over half a second. Jacob able to come on by and then slowly extend that gap. Looks like lap traffic quickly going to become an issue for Jacob in the 97 machine as he's coming up on the 27 of Brad Taz Becker. Brad going to go ahead and give him a little bit of space, let him come on by. And Jacob comes by nice and easy. See what Kyle's able to do. Brad does the same, goes ahead and lets him come on by. JD Callahan in the 29 machine got a little bit of space in front of him, a little bit of space behind him, but he's got to see that 25 machine. Bobby Hamilton slowly closing that gap, getting closer and closer. Just under half a second gap between those cars right now, with Bobby closing it slowly each time around. Watch those guys as they make their way around some lap traffic, and now they can get back to work chasing each other down. Bobby's making some time on JD in front of him, but he can't forget about Jacob Heathcote there behind him. Jacob is sitting just under half a second also, so definitely nothing he can just forget about. Bobby's got to be thinking about what's going on behind him at the same time he's working on that car in front of him. Patrick Smith in the 79 machine, watching him come past Joshua Taylor in the 01. Him and Vern Woodard able to get past there pretty quickly and cleanly and continuing their battle. The gap between these two drivers, Patrick Smith and Vern Woodard, 0.33 seconds. See Vern running a slightly higher line on exit, and Patrick keep hugging that bottom. Maybe even grabbing a bit of that apron to help that car turn, help him get around the corner. That 28 machine there just in front of Vern, a lap down car, so not a battle for position, but definitely something Vern's going to have to deal with to avoid losing a position here to Patrick Smith behind him. See Vern come up a little bit high, giving Patrick Smith the opportunity to get to that inside line, that preferred line. Patrick Smith going to jump all over that, coming to the inside, looking to get by Vern this time. Patrick and Vern running door to door here. Taking a couple laps for him to work his way by. Finally able to do it this time. As we see Vern looking to the inside, thinks better of it. With the 01 of Joshua Taylor behind him. Can't take any huge risks. The worry of losing another spot. Patrick Smith getting a little bit loose coming through that corner, but gathers it back up and able to hang on to that position. JD Callahan battling Bobby Hamilton Jr. here. Bobby Hamilton to the inside. Once again, that preferred line. We've seen these guys using that all night long to get a pass in, just waiting for the guy in front of him to slip up a little bit. Bobby Hamilton getting a little bit sideways there. Gonna make it a little bit harder to come on past that 29 machine, giving JD Callahan an opportunity to stay in the fight. .32 machine of Jacob Heathcote looking to follow Bobby Hamilton Jr. through. Hold JD Callahan to the outside there and hopefully grab himself a position also. You see him this time by, able to clear that 29 machine. Move Bobby Hamilton Jr. up into third and Jacob Heathcote into fourth there behind him. Jacob Notstead out here in first, looking at a 3-second gap to the second place driver of the 807, Kyle Bingham there behind him. Jacob once again taking control of this field, pushing his way through. Derek Whitford sitting in 10th position is going to be our last car on the lead lap. And you've got to be sure he's aware that Jacob Nottestead in that 97 machine, you can see him there in the background slowly stalking him, looking to catch up and put him a lap down as well. Watching him come out of 4 there, the 173 machine, followed closely by the 79 of Patrick Smith. Patrick will be working on that rear bumper, trying to find his way by. Looks like we got a caution out here on track. First one here of the night. Looks like that's going to be the 803 machine of Kyle Willis. See if we can jump back a little bit and see what happened there. Looks like Kyle just gets a little bit loose. Loses the car. Like we said, these guys are running on the same tires they started the night on, so looking at 63 laps on those tires. Just a little bit more than he could get that car around here tonight. So this will definitely shake things up a little bit, get guys gathered back up. Derek Whitford in that 44 machine definitely going to benefit here. Gonna still be sitting in that 10th position, but definitely a lot more breathing room now with Jacob Nottestead not sitting just behind him. Definitely some great racing from these guys here tonight on this 0.35 mile track. Jacob Nottestead up in that first position where we expect to see him most nights. Kyle Bingham in the 807 sitting in second. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in third in the 25 machine. Jacob Heathcote in fourth position, and J.D. Callahan sitting fifth. Philip Martin currently in 6th with Vern Woodard sitting 7th. Patrick Smith in 8th and Joshua Taylor 9th. 10th place is going to be Derek Whitford. Brad Taz Becker back to the lead lap sitting in 11th place. Jonathan Cross will now be our first car a lap down sitting in 12th. Mike Todd in 13th. And Kyle Willis back to green. Here we go. The 97 Jacob Nottestead wasting no time, gets a quick jump, able to clear that 807 machine easily, back out to the lead. You watch that 32 machine, Jacob Heathcote into that wall, able to gather that machine back up, but definitely not the way you want to restart a race with everybody bunched up. Going to lose a little bit of position there as we see him getting loose. Once again, able to gather that machine back up under him. Losing more spots, though, dropping back to that 8th position just there in front of the 79 of Patrick Smith. Patrick will have seen all that going on in front of him and be well aware that that 32 machine is sitting on some hot tires right now. He might have got a little loose, but he is definitely not laying down. That 32 machine already back to work, working over that rear bumper of the 01 Joshua Taylor. Joshua's got a mirror full of that 32 machine right now, working to stay in front of him there. Joshua Smith gets a little bit loose, gets a little bit of help into that outside wall as the 32 comes by. Jacob Heathcote nowhere to go. Able to get through. Everybody's keeping it green out here tonight. Back up front, that 25 machine, Bobby Hamilton Jr. up into second place. Just behind him, we're looking at the 807. Kyle Bingham sitting in third place. Kyle Bingham looking at that 29 machine behind him, JD Callahan. JD running a slightly different line. You see him getting a little bit lower on entry and then running pretty similar through the middle of that corner. Looking back there behind just a little bit, 46 of Philip Martin gets a little bit loose, gives up a position to the 173 of Vernon Woodard. Philip Martin able to gather that machine up quickly though, not dropping back too far. That puts the 32, Jacob Heathcote right there on his back bumper. Jacob looking to the inside, trying to see if he's going to be able to get there for the corner. Not able to do it, but staying right on that back bumper. Looking at the 44, Derek Whitford with Brad Tazbecker there behind him. These two following the 803 machine of Kyle Willis. Kyle Willis been a lap down, so that's not a battle for position, but definitely a little bit of traffic. Those two are going to have to work their way through. Hopefully able to get through quickly and not have to worry about the leader, 97, Jacob Nottestead, catching up to him anytime soon. Smith in that 79 machine running low through that corner. Vernon Woodard in front of him running a little bit higher. Once again, maybe trying to save a little bit of tire for the final few laps here tonight. Doesn't look like Vernon's giving up a whole lot of time. Able to keep Patrick there behind him. The gap between Patrick and Vernon looks to be staying the same. Looking like that low line just not giving Patrick the Smith the drive out of the corner that he's needing to close that gap up on Vernon. Up here towards the front, 807 getting a little bit loose, giving the 29 of JD Callahan a look to the inside. JD says thank you and drives the car on in there. Oh, contact between the two. 29 into the inside wall. He's able to gather that machine up, but not before Philip Martin and Jacob Heathcote catch up to him. So JD going to maintain that fourth position, but now bringing Jacob Heathcote and Philip Martin into the picture where they weren't before, giving him something he's got to think about as he tries to make his way back up to the back of that 807 machine. Take a wide look here at the 97 machine. Jacob Nottestead in first place. Able to see a little bit of that gap there behind him. See what he's got coming up on the track in front of him. That 28 machine, the purple machine, he's already a lap down. The 44 of Derek Whitford, though, will be fighting to stay on the lead lap. Interesting to see what happens once Jacob gets caught up to him there. In third place can be Kyle Bingham. JD Callahan closing that gap back up. Watch just a few laps ago, JD and Kyle got Made a little bit of contact that sent JD to that inside wall. Doesn't look like it's hurt JD too much as he's able to get back there, keep that car rolling. Maybe a little bit of damage to the front end, but once again, with this being such a short track, nothing that's gonna mess him up too bad here. Jacob Heathcote in the 32 machine still got the 46 of Philip Martin all over his back bumper. He starts to work now on the 29 of JD Callahan. Watching him work through these corners. '29 gets a little bit loose coming to that corner. Gives Jacob an opportunity to come to the inside. Jacob's working that low line now. Once again, that's that preferred line. That's where he's going to want to be. It's just going to be a matter of how much drive he's able to get off the corners. We're seeing that 46 machine doing a little dirt track action there on the asphalt behind him. Looking at 4 laps to go here tonight. These laps on this short little track are ticking right off. Jacob Nottestead in the 97. See that he's come on by that 44 machine. Got his sights set on the 27 of Brad Taz Becker there in front of him. Watch Brad earlier get out of the way and let them go by. As it looks like he's going to do the same here. Not able to go. Oh, Jacob gets a little bit sideways through that corner as now he's going to work on past the 803 machine. Jacob Nottestead going to go ahead and bring it home first for us here tonight. Further back in the field, looking at Patrick Smith and Vern Woodard, still battling right there to the line. They're going to finish out in 7th and 8th. Patrick Smith finishing 7th and Vern Woodard finishing 8th. Great racing from all the drivers here tonight. Give us 1 minute. We'll get these guys gathered up, see if we can get a word in with our top 3 here.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
All right. Well, we'll throw a couple questions to you about the track and how things were running and all that good stuff, and you know, nothing too serious. So, all right, here we go. We'll throw it back in just a second. Welcome back to the Shut Up and Race Southern National Pink Drive 100. We've caught up with our first, second, and third place drivers here tonight. Kyle Bingham in the 807 machine able to bring that thing home in third. Kyle, Danny up in the booth, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Kyle, we watched you out there tonight working that machine around. How was the track for you? Was it something you were comfortable with, or something you were not your favorite thing to do here in this little track?
Honestly, I wasn't expecting such a long green flag run. I'm more of a short run guy myself, and just kind of fighting tight center, loose off for me with these fixed setups. I wish I could have adjusted a little bit different, but overall, great setup and great running with these guys. And I just really wanted to apologize to that 29 car who was trying to take third place with 20 laps to go. I got a little bit loose coming out of two and tagged the wall and got into him. I tried to apologize during the race and just ended up third, but it should have been him in third.
On these short tracks, we expect to see guys pushing real hard, working their way to the front. You said you were a little bit tight through some of the corner and loose in other sections. Was that changing through the night, or was that pretty standard all the way through?
I felt pretty comfortable the first 40 laps, but the last 60, I mean, I think just the setup for me, I had so much wheel into it in the center. It was, it would snap loose for me off, so tight center, loose off. But, that's fixed racing, man. We're all on the same playing field, and I just got to figure a way to drive a little better next time.
That's true. Everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody running the same setup, the same car. So all down to what the driver's able to do with that setup they're handed. Kyle, congratulations on that third place finish. Anyone that helps you get that car out here on track? Anyone you want to say thank you to?
Just thank you to these guys for putting on a league. I'm a part of another big league. We came in the other night and raced with these guys, so I figured I'd give a shot with them, and it's been a blast.
Well, once again, congratulations on that third place finish. We hope to see you in the coming week.
Thank you, sir.
Bobby Hamilton Jr., you got a copy.
Yeah, man.
Hey, great seeing you out there tonight. Able to turn some good laps, work your way around there in the front. How was the track for you? We heard from Kyle a little bit. What were you thinking out there?
It really turned to the tight side really, really bad, and then it would, of course, you'd have the wheel into it, and you're on the gas and make it loose off the corner. So, but I think it was the same for everybody. It was all who could roll through the center. So I started backing the corner up a whole lot, and basically, as soon as I seen the red light come on the tack, I would lift to get it to roll in the corner. And but overall, I mean, I think we had a good night. I mean, not that the points matter to me, but because we're just starting this thing. But overall, with the passes and the way you just got to adapt to this place. I ran a ton of races here in Super Late Model and Southern All Star back when that stuff was around, and one of my favorite places. Plus, with iRacing this league here and with these Camaros, is pretty cool. You can just drive the crap out of them, so they're fun.
Sounds like these Camaros got a little bit of a soft spot in your heart, something you enjoy driving. It's always fun to watch you out there working the track. Anyone you need to say thank you to or helps you get that car out here on track?
Nah, just everybody here in the league. I mean, it's a great group of guys, even the new guys that come in tonight. I mean, that was, people don't understand how hard it is to drive these things on the old tires, and we basically had one caution this whole race. I mean, that everybody here should pat themselves on the back, and the 97, he's definitely the guy of the field by a long shot. I mean, he's on long runs, he's the guy that you got to beat, and just everybody. I mean, it gives us something to shoot for. So, but everybody in this league had done one hell of a job tonight. I mean, because it's super hard on these old tires, and we basically ran a caution-free race here at this place where a short track is beating and banging. So, just applaud those guys. And I mean, everything happened tonight. Great show and everything because of these guys here.
Well, once again, congratulations on that second place finish. Hope to see you out next week.
10-4 will be there.
Jacob, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Jacob, getting used to seeing you here at the front. I think there's only been about 1 week that we haven't seen you up here. Looks like the track suits you. What was the feel for you out there?
Yeah, like those other guys said, it was definitely tight in the center if you miss it a little bit. Really tricky track, especially on old tires. If you got it a little too low, it'd get loose, and if you miss a corner just a little bit, it'd just push up. So it's really tough to get the handle on. Really didn't want to see that caution toward the end because I knew we were better on the long run. Let those guys keep up on the short run, but it worked out.
So was that something you were expecting, a lot of long runs, or were you kind of figuring that it would be kind of a caution-filled night?
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more cautions than there were. I was really impressed by the clean racing for only one caution. I think that's because the lower car count tonight. So good job to everybody for that.
Well, it's always fun to watch you guys get out here and turn laps and really push these machines. So this short track, something you seem to like. Next week we head to someplace a little bit bigger. We head to Richmond. How you feeling about that?
I'm excited about that. We get an extra set of tires and 200 laps, so it should be a really long one, but it should be pretty fun to see who the comers and goers are.
Well, like I say, we're excited to see that next week. Congratulations on your first place finish here again tonight at Southern National. Anyone you want to say thank you to?
Yeah, I thank all the guys that run the league and putting this on, and my grandparents for running the internet again.
Well, congratulations. Like we said, always excited to see you out here. Always look fun to watch you push your way from that back of the field up to the front. Looks like we'll be seeing more of that next week.
Yep, hopefully we'll see you next week.
All right, that's the number 97 machine, Jacob Notstead, coming home first once again here tonight at Southern National. Great racing from the Shut Up and Race crew for the Pink Drive 100 presented by JP. Watch Jacob do a couple of celebratory donuts there. Well, we really appreciate everyone who's tuned in tonight here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We look forward to seeing you next week with the Shut Up and Race series. Like we said, they'll be headed to Richmond, running a slightly longer race and giving these guys an opportunity to swap some tires out, something they aren't normally allowed to do. From everyone here at Turn 3 Racing Network, have a great night.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.